Self-Love is the New Sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, this is W. Mark Watts. Welcome and thank you for hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. And today's episode is entitled simply, Be Willing to Be Different. Be willing to be different. Now, that is so important, especially at the time that I'm recording this episode, the energy and the space that we're in as a planet is so requesting us to be our authentic self, be who we truly are. And that's why this is top of mind for me. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention of all my listeners, especially after speaking with several different people over the last week or so, who we were having engaged in this similar type conversation and building upon that foundation. So I wanted to just share a few thoughts on it tonight with everybody. Now, it's so key to be willing to be different, be willing to be who you are. Number one is because that is where your true power is. That is where the true happiness and joy in life is, because every ounce of who you are and how you behave and how you look and how you move in this world is essential. It's your essential vibration. It's your essential frequency. So anytime you're compromising that, which I don't mean that you don't ever make compromises in life. What I mean is you have to be really firm on the boundaries regarding who you actually are as a person, how you do things, how you look at things, your personal opinion about things. Now, that still means that we will grow, we will make mistakes. There will be things we will be uncomfortable with, things we don't like. That's part of the journey. That's part of the juicy journey that we are so privileged to live each and every day, and we have to embrace that. And I think oftentimes we are willing to compromise some of the things, some of who we really are, in hopes that we'll make other people happy, and in doing so, making ourselves unhappy. I'm going to give you a quick example of one of the times. There have been many times, and I'm sure there have been many times in your life as well where this has played out, but I very vividly recall as a senior in high school, as we got toward graduation time, I was asked to do the benediction for our graduation ceremony. And of course, I was very excited to do so. And probably the best English teacher, or the most esteemed English teacher in the school, was in charge of the production. And her one instruction to me was, you get to write the benediction the way you want to write it. Do it from your heart and make it yours. And so I said, okay. And so I went off and I started writing and I completed my assignment. And of course, she wanted to review everything before rehearsals. And I gave her my benediction. And she came back to me with notes and changes to what I wanted to say. And when I read it, I said, that's not me. That's not what I want to say. That's what she wants to say. And if that's the case, that's the point, then why did you ask, why were you asking me to do it? Was my whole thought process. And I was very respectful, and I didn't say anything to her about it, but I was very distraught. I was when you get to a point where something just doesn't feel right to you, and that's how I felt about that. It didn't feel good. And I talked with my mom about it, and she said, hey, babe, you have to do what you really feel is right and what you want to do. And I almost acquiesced and gave in and was prepared to deliver the doctored up benediction that my my esteemed teacher gave me to deliver. But I thought, no, this is my graduation. She asked me to do this because for a reason, I was selected for a reason to do this. And now, granted, keep in mind, this is one of the sternest, probably toughest English teachers in the school for a long period of time. And I had actually had the pleasure of being her student in 9th grade. So I knew exactly how she was and how she moved and how strict she could be and, how she could be very firm and controlling. But a great teacher, though. Very great, very good lady. I learned a lot from her. And again, I was happy to have her class. So that's why I was so conflicted. I'm like, I should just trust what she wants. She's been doing this for years. So I should just say what she said. But that didn't sit right. And so what happened was I went back. I took what she had given me and I scrapped it. And I went back to my original plan. And I even went further into how I really felt and what I wanted to say and how I was feeling in the moment. And so that when I finished it, it was truly me. Now, of course, I don't remember anything that I said because it's been quite a long time ago. I don't have any notes or anything that I kept about it. But I knew once I was done that it was me. And so we eventually came to rehearsals. And I don't think we practiced it out loud. But for some reason, I'm not sure. I don't think we ever got to review it again. I think it was just, she had given her notes and she expected me to, listen to what she had said. And that was the end of it. But, that just didn't sit well for me. So come graduation day, I delivered the benediction the way that I wanted to. That was authentic and true to me. And when I saw her after graduation, as she was walking toward me and we were walking toward each other, I felt a little bit of trepidation because I wasn't sure how that thing was going to go down. And she walked up to me. She was a short lady. And she gave me a huge hug and a kiss on the cheek and said, "I'm so proud of you. That was beautiful." And that reiterated the fact to me that, when you have an assignment, there's a reason why you have the assignment. That affirmed for me that it was supposed to be my design. It was very respectful, very tasteful, everything I think a benediction should be in a high school graduation. And so I was super excited that she was pleased with what I had done. And not only that, I was pleased. I felt really good about what I had done. But I was willing to be daring. I was willing to be different. I was willing to be myself. And again, first and foremost, because that's your signature. That's your stamp. And that's where you live. That's where your power and your strength comes from, is everything individually different about you. That's number one. Number two is that's what the universe needs. That's what the world needs. We're here for a reason. You are here for a reason and or reasons, plural. And that requires all of the talents, all of the challenges, all of the loves, all of the twists and turns that you are going to encounter on this journey. It requires all of that to fill this space, to do what you're supposed to do. And when we're not willing to do that, not only do we discount ourselves, but we discount our fellow man, we discount our fellow woman, the world in general, because we have to fill that space that we're supposed to fill, regardless of what that is. Everybody has a position, and your position can be played most well when you're being yourself, when you're taking that tough assignment, when you're switching a job, when you're trusting your heart and you decide to love that person regardless of how it ends up, when you want to have that tough conversation with your spouse, your mother, your father, your kid, your son, your daughter, your coworker. When you step out on just that nudge, that tug from your heart, that you should move from where you're currently living to somewhere else that you live. You want to fight for civil rights or equality. If you want to, really push the limits and take your talents and become a judge or a police officer or a teacher or an astronaut, whatever it is, that's what you're supposed to do. That's your contribution. And that journey, it's the journey that's the contribution. And I want to make a point of that. It's not one particular point along this time frame. It's your whole journey that you're meant to contribute to this world, because you affect so many other people and they're watching, and you got to give them yourself. That's the real gift. So that's the second piece, is the real gift to the world is every essence, every piece of part of who you are. You've got to give that. That's your duty. That's your mission. That's your task, is to give every ounce of who you are to the world. And then lastly is that gives us the beautiful space to grow. And again, in this energy and space that we're in at the time that I'm recording this, I'm in such a space of flux right now that I almost don't know what to do with myself. I mean, there's so many things that are really just opening up for me, and I'm questioning, and I'm excited, and I'm a little afraid, because there are some things coming up on my horizon that I'd have no idea what they really are. And even though it's exciting, it's scary sometimes. So I'm just in a space where I feel it, and I know it's time for me to create and do something different. And, maybe I do continue to do a lot of what I do now, but I know that there's some new things that are just ready for me to start exploring. And I'm super excited about that. And I know that you are in that same space. I know many of you, especially if you listen to this podcast, you're in that place where you're feeling just really uncertain. Things are broken down, or you feel that shift. You've been there before. When things are shifting and changing, and that it's time for you to do something different or new or additional to what you're doing. And it's just that time. So I invite you to really be willing to be yourself. All of you. Bring everything that you have, kitchen sink included. And then look to expand on that, look to grow, look to continue your journey in a much bigger and better way, because that's the beauty of who you are and who we are collectively. All right, I'm going to get out of here now before I get on my soapbox and really take this thing to another level. Until the next time, remember to be willing to be different, especially because that's who you are and who you're meant to be. Talk with you all again very soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.